Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of The Fintelligent Investor by Rupai Financial Services. I am CA Pratiksha Pai.
And I'm CA Sanket Naik.
And today we are going to be talking about ITR filing.
So you may all be getting messages, emails, WhatsApp and whatnot asking you to file a return. What is this all about? What is income tax return?
So actually basically let me tell you one thing. See, if we take a novel or any book, okay, the book has a lot of content, but what we see first the index to see what is there in the book. So an index gives you almost full information about what is there in the book. Same way, income tax return is where we give a summary of all our incomes that we have earned in a year. We tell the government basically that, see, there are these many heads of income that the government has already prescribed and it is already there in the act. We will definitely talk about that later on. So what we do is, whatever incomes we have in a year, we classify that within those set of categories that the government has given, and we tell that, okay, in this category I have earned this much income, in this category I have earned this much income. So we give a summary and then we tell that, okay, putting all these categories together, this is my income, these are some exemptions that the government is giving me. So after such exemption, whatever is my taxable income, and on that this is the tax that I am paying to the government. So basically this is what is involved in an income tax return. Now, how is an income tax return identified? It's not like you just take a piece of paper and start jotting down all your incomes. So there is a prescribed way in which the government wants you to provide these details. Okay, so the government will release that ITR form every year, and the government will tell that, see, you cannot put it in your own way. This is the form that we are releasing, and in this form you can put in all your income details, and we will see that in all in one place, and so that there is uniformity throughout the country and everyone has the same type of form. You put your incomes and you give us details about what is your income and what is the tax you are paying on that. So that prescribed form is the income tax return. So tell us who has to file this income tax returns, because there may be different people with different ranges of income and all that. So who are the people who have to really file this income tax return?
So though there is a lot of detail on this. So the basic rule what we need to keep in mind is any person whose income crosses the basic exemption limit, such people are required to file their return. So as of now, the basic exemption limit stands at 2.5 lakhs for most individuals. So in such cases, if your income is crossing this limit, then you are supposed to file a return of income.
So is this the same rule for minors as well as people above 18?
See, basically a return is filed by a major itself. A minor is normally not required to file a return at their end. It is usually filed by any of the parents of the minor. So it is the parent who has a higher income, that person is supposed to file the return of the minor. Along with his return itself, that income gets clubbed.
Okay. Okay, so now see what I mean to say is, sometimes see there are minors, now see there are many people who have YouTube channels, there are minors who are actors, so they may have their own income or their talent, or there could be minors who are into some cookery and all that we see nowadays, right? So they may be earning on their own. So then can they file their separate return of income? Because clubbing, what you said is when a parent maybe keeps an FD in the name of the minor, and from that if a minor is earning FD interest, then of course it can't be said to be minor's income. So that is clubbed with the parents. But what if a minor has his own income legitimately?
See, there is an exception provided here. What the tax law says is that if a minor earns income out of his or her own efforts, then such income is taxed in their own hands, not in the hands of the parents. Versus passive incomes like, say, interest income, like what you just mentioned, or let's say the minor has inherited some property and is getting some rental income, or maybe the minor has inherited some shares getting some dividend income. So all these are not active income supposedly. So these are clubbed with the parents' income. However, if they are into profession like say acting or anything else where they are putting their own effort, it is not their parents who are earning this income. There, it is the minor who is earning the income. In such a case, the minor is taxable in his own hands.
So like if a minor is into say some classical dance or musical instrument, they have their own concerts and all, it's considered their own income.
Definitely, even child actors, for that matter, we see them everywhere in TV, in movies, in YouTube channels, in plays. So all of these would classify under own effort and own income.
So my question is say 11th or 12th standard student is taking coaching for 9th or 10th standard students. So then that is also their own professional income.
Yes, we can say that.
Okay.
So why should I really file my return? Anyways, my incomes would be covered under TDS or advance tax or whatever it is. So is there any necessity of filing it? Like, apart from the legal reasons, there may be a lot of legal reasons why I need to file it. But what does it, I mean, how does it benefit me? What's the use of it?
So I think many of our viewers would be having this question, like why should I pay an income? Should I file an income tax return? Because see, we pay taxes through advance taxes, through TDS and various other this thing. But and majorly many of the times at the end the income tax return also shows a refund. Right? So you may tell that tomorrow if the tax department asks me, I will tell that I have paid everything, I have just not filed the return. So why should I go to a professional to take the hassle, give him or her all the papers and then file my return? So this is a very important discussion that we need to have, and so that our viewers also know. So first and foremost, as a law-abiding citizen of the country, it is mandatory that if you are having income above the ranges told by Sanket, then you definitely have to file an income tax return. But filing of an income tax return is not just a statutory requirement, because people they will feel that this is such a hassle, go to a professional and all that. So it is not just a statutory tax requirement. Let me tell you other benefits that you get by filing your income tax return. First of all, for people who are salaried, most of your work like getting loans from the banks etc. happens even if you have just 3 months of salary certificate. If you just show that okay, I have been getting this salary, I am working over here, you will definitely get funds. But what for people who are in their own business, okay, who are putting as much effort and getting money through their own business? So here, how will you tell someone that I have a business and I am earning so much money and I can avail so much loan from banks? The banks will need some kind of a proof that you are earning that income. Okay, so here income tax return comes to your rescue. So what you do is you have to give them 3 years worth of your ITRs in order to get even some basic loans. Okay, so what happens here is that suppose tomorrow you want just even a basic thing like a vehicle or a house, you go to bank. For people, at least people having own business, you have to show that see, this is my 3 years income, I am eligible to get a loan. And banks will not take any other documents except your ITRs first. Like that is the basic. Of course there will be many other documents that they require, but an ITR shows them that yes, this is your income. Secondly, also many a times there could be a survey on any business people. Survey or what we generally know in basic terms as raids and all. At that point of time, if there is something that is confiscated, if you have an income tax return in which you have shown that property or if you have disclosed that income, then you can rightfully say that yes, this is the disclosed income and I have paid tax on it. So you may have earned that income by putting in a lot of effort. You may have paid your advance tax on it, you may have paid TDS on it, but if you don't have an income tax return, how will you prove that you have paid the tax? So when there is an income tax return, what you are essentially, it is a a basic document of evidence that yes, this is my legally earned property or legally earned income. So in such cases also, an income tax return is the first and foremost proof that you can provide. So these are just few examples. There are many cases wherein the first and basic proof that you need to do, even while procuring visa for some foreign countries, the first thing you have to show is your income tax return, because you have to show the proof that you are earning over here, you are earning enough over here, so that you can even visit some of the foreign countries, even in order, no, forget visiting, even in order to get visa. These are some of the basic documents that you have to. So do not think that income tax return is just another statutory requirement, a statutory hassle. So there are many benefits also that you gain. Many times, whenever you go for passport, not for passport but for visa, they'll tell you to get your ITR. So these are some basic benefits other than, of course, the mandatory requirement that you have to file. So now, Sanket, you told us about ITR filing, the basic this limit being 2.5 lakhs. But is there some concession for the senior citizens?
Yes, there are multiple slabs. In fact, so anyone who is below the age of 60, 2.5 lakhs is the basic exemption limit. However, if you are above the age of 60 and you are a resident Indian, so in such cases, 3 lakhs is the basic exemption limit specified. And let's say your age is above the age of 80, in such a case 5 lakhs is the basic exemption limit specified.
So here I would also like to add that in India, the taxes being paid are not on the basis of your citizenship, but on the basis of your residency. We will have a different small video in regard to that itself, like who is liable to pay what kind of taxes, what is the limits, and for individuals, HFs and all of that. But the basic and most important thing is that even if you are a citizen of some other country, but as per the laws of India, if you are a resident over here and if you are earning, and even if you are earning being a resident, then you are liable to pay taxes in India. So that will be a further long discussion, maybe a separate video on that, so that people in this tax filing season there are no confusions. But this is just what I wanted to tell. So, what are the modes of filing these income tax returns? Is it something manual? Is it online? Or how is it?
It's mostly online today. Manual has almost gone out. There are very few exceptions, and online frankly is very easy. You can just sit at home, log in to the tax portal, and if it's a very simple return where you have just one or two types of incomes, and if you're aware about it, you can even do it at your own end. You don't even have to meet anyone. However, let's say things you are not very sure about some things, it's always better to consult someone who's an expert in these areas so that you get the right advice.
So basically, say I have a salary income and some FD interest and all, I can still sit at my home and just finish it off.
Definitely, as long as you know where to put what, you can definitely do it at your end.
But I think going to a professional, you know that maybe some of your investments made are eligible deductions and all that, right?
Definitely, and also you may end up knowing that there are certain types of incomes which you should classify and declare, which you may otherwise not be aware of, and a professional may help you in these things.
True. There are sometimes some kind of confusions whether this income is, falling into this category or that category, and there is a thin line of difference at times. So
Yes.
maybe a professional can guide better in that perspective, right?
Yes, definitely. See, wherever there is some confusion, please keep in mind that all of us are definitely not experts in all areas. We can be good at our own thing. So, someone may be good at what they are working at. So, if that is not your field, definitely there is nothing wrong in asking help.
So say, I'm somewhere in a foreign country or something, I can just sit there, if I'm traveling or something, I can just sit there and file off my return.
Yes, you can do it from anywhere in the world. In fact, there are a lot of non-residents who don't even visit India, just file sitting wherever they are and file it off.
Correct. So another question is that, is it like just submit, because there is one acknowledgement also to be done for the ITR, right? So can you please also tell about that? Because someone may, leave the process in half and then get into trouble, that's why.
Yes, so what you have to keep in mind is First, you have to file the form. Once you file the form, it goes online. There, you have to. First step is the return gets submitted, but this is not yet complete. What you then need to do is do a verification of the return. So a verification of the return in the past used to be a manual process where you had to sign and send it to the CPC address given on the return. So this process is still there. However, now there are much more simpler ways of verifying a return. You can just do a Aadhaar based OTP verification or a net banking related verification. A lot of online modes of verifications have now been prescribed wherein you can do it right there and get the final acknowledgement as well. And that will clearly state at the bottom that do not send this to CPC. So that's how you get to know, it's written in red, that that is the final acknowledgement.
Okay, okay. So I wanted to ask this income tax return, while we are submitting it, while we are filing it, can it be filed in a mode where it is called tax payable, or should it necessarily be tax paid and payable is just zero, or there is a refund kind of a situation?
In most normal returns, you can still file a payable return, but do keep in mind that you would be liable to pay interest to the government, and this is a monthly levy. It sometimes can go up to 2% per month. So it is highly advisable that you pay. But let's say in case you are not in a position to pay at the moment, please do not declare a false position of your income, rather declare a right position, and there is always an option to pay later as well. However, there is applicable interest in these cases.
So is there any time limit within which you have to pay that payable amount, or how is it?
No, there is no such limit prescribed. However, the tax authorities can send you notices, and beyond the point they can come for recovery as well.
So one of the majorly confusing areas in ITR filing is what ITR should be filed, because there are different types of ITRs, So there is one for salaried income, business income, and then combinations of incomes and all that. So this is of course done to what you say, easen the process, right? To make the process more easy. But there is a lot of confusion. Someone may start with some ITR, find that there is some income, but they find that that income is not in that ITR. So can you please tell us that what are the types of these ITRs and how to go about it?
So there are multiple ITR forms prescribed depending on various criteria that we just mentioned. If I'm just having a salaried income, or if I'm having business income, it could be a different form. So there are specific instructions given on the e-filing website where nowadays it is very clear that what should be the type of ITR in case of the type of income. In addition, what happens is, unlike in the past where you used to be a manual form and you had to guess up in the very end whether what you are doing is right or not, when you are filing an online ITR, if that is not the applicable form, there can be errors which pop up during the filing itself, which makes it very clear that this should not be the particular ITR, or this should be the particular ITR, or at least you get to know that this is not the right form, and you can go back and check that what should have been the right form.
So we had a good discussion about real basic information about ITR, right? But this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Because this basic information is generally for people who may be first time salaried people, first time business owners who just don't know what is ITR, and everyone is like ITR, and they are maybe really confused. So this is the very basic, and we'll do many more videos. With each video we'll go a bit more into the depth of this ITR filing, and basically since July ending is for the individuals ITRs, we can maybe cover that in this month, so that every individual who is filing his ITR, his or her ITR, knows what is involved, so that they can file their ITR in a way in which there are no mistakes, right? So yes, this was a very basic video, and thank you everyone for watching, and keep tuned with us for more of our videos. This is Intelligent Investor from Mumbai Financial Services. Thank you. Also, if you are a person who is filing ITR in this season and you are really confused about some matters, please let us know in the comment sections below, where we have to provide you more clarity on your confusions, or if there are any questions that you have, please let us know, and we'd like to make a video on the same.